And then Grant Hill, right? Another guy that, yeah, I mean, his first 6 seasons of the Pistons was great. Some people called him, kind of like similar to LeBron or Oscar Robertson, piling up the triple doubles. I don't know if he'll be as good, but some people say like he was on the path.
He was
right?
different. I think Grant Hill's game was actually
Yeah.
he's similar in terms of his all around game to say LeBron and them.
Yeah.
But there's something also different about Grant Hill. I think it was the fact that because he played in college,
Hmm.
Grant Hill came out in terms of
And he was a really good college player.
his fun. Yeah, he was a
Yeah.
very good college player,
Yeah.
and his fundamentals were really really polished.
Hmm.
For example, if you want to compare say Grant Hill to LeBron, I would say Grant Hill actually has better ball handling.
Okay.
Grant Hill actually had the ball handling of a guard, and Grant Hill had such great crossover, a really really good crossover for a small forward. A guy
Mhm.
that size 6'7" with that
Mhm.
athleticism. He was a great passer, a great rebounder, and he was really good at shooting as well.
Mhm.
And he can shoot the mid range, the three. He can come in and dunk it on you.
Yep.
But that crossover is what separates him from everyone else. He's got a really good hesitation
Mhm.
with his dribbling, and that's something you don't see with a lot of players. A nice little and he also dribbles really low. All these old school players, they're more fundamental, and that's why I said Brandon Roy reminds me of an old school player, because Brandon Roy, when he actually crosses you over,
Yep.
he's dribbling low as well. Brandon Roy, Penny Hardaway, and also Grant Hill, they all dribble low. And then so when they're doing the crossover, they're dribbling low. First of all, they can make the move quicker. Secondly, it's harder for you to steal the ball. It's not like the new school players like Allen Iverson, or even Kobe later on,
Yep.
where they had the ball high up in their hands because they're allowed to palm the basketball later on.
Yep.
That they're palming it and going like that and one stuff, which actually isn't that effective most of the time.
Mhm.
But these old school guys, Grant Hill, Penny, all these guys, Brandon Roy plays old school, Isaiah, they all dribble low. And once they make the move, they don't really go above their knees for a lot of the crossovers. They actually make sure it's low. And Grant Hill had that great crossover with the hesitation that can just like deke everybody out and just cross them up, or he can do a double back with the crossover too. And that's something that's really unique with Grant Hill.
And what do you think about between Grant Hill and Penny? Because they're both kind of the two of the biggest '90s what ifs, right?
If I really had to choose, like I said, this is also really, really, really close. But if I had to pick,
Mm-hmm.
maybe Penny. Maybe
Interesting.
Penny.
And they both could give you triple doubles, so
The reason why I would pick
Yeah.
Penny is because it's the same thing.
both big ball handler guys. So yeah.
Because Penny can be an absolutely legitimate point guard,
Yeah.
whereas Grant Hill is more of a small forward scorer who just so happens to be a pretty good passer.
Yeah.
But Penny is a legit point guard mentality that can score as well as anybody as well.
Mm.
So he's a bit more complete in the area, in my opinion. I also think Penny is actually the better defender.
Mm.
Because I think Grant Hill, the one knock on his game is I don't think he's a very good defender.
Yeah.
Grant Hill doesn't have that mean streak. I think Penny has a bit more edge. From a personality standpoint, Penny on the court had a little bit more edge to him and just better defense, whereas Grant Hill was more of a nice guy, and he doesn't have that defensive ability, I think. And that's what separates these two apart. So if I had to choose, I think I would take Penny.
Okay. Interesting. And Penny's not in the Hall of Fame yet. I think that's a kind of a snub, honestly.
Oh, he'll get in there eventually. I mean,
Chris Webber's another one. Kind of, yeah. I mean, we actually saw most of Chris Webber's career, but yeah, he could have extended his career a couple seasons if
yeah,
not for
Chris
injury as well.
Webber already. I think we all knew how good this guy can be when he was in Sacramento. I mean, when he was in Sacramento, he
Yeah.
was one of the most amazing power forwards I've ever seen. I mean, the guy literally was going toe to toe against Shaq. I'm not saying they were guarding each other, but he was going. They were matching each other basket for basket.
Yep.
Sure, it was like Robert Horry and Horace Grant guarding Chris Webber,
Yep.
and it was Vlade Divac guarding Shaq, but they were taking turns scoring on each other's team, and that was saying a lot. They couldn't guard Shaq on the other end, but they couldn't guard Chris Webber on the other end too.
Mhm.
So Webber was a pretty amazing player. It's all that crop that I said. Right when you hit around 95, 96,
Yep.
those new players coming in at that point, 96 and prior, were all NBA ready because they went through college. Chris Webber, obviously, from Michigan, he played through college.
Yep.
Penny played through college. Shaq played through college. Tim Duncan, shortly
Yep.
after that. These crop of players came in, they were so polished, and their IQ was all there from a basketball standpoint. The crops that came in later, the T-Macs, the Kevin Garnetts, the Kobe's,
Mm-hmm.
they were missing that certain basketball IQ. That's why they were never playing in the flow of a basketball game. They always had something missing. For example, Garnett was a good team player, but he lacked a lot of fundamentals with his footwork and everything. So his offense was never good enough to anchor a championship team. never, because all he would do is post up, turn around, and take a turnaround jump shot, which was a very high percentage, a one and done shot, unlike Duncan. Kobe, you know, was pretty polished with ball handling, but the problem was he never had a team game. He didn't know how to play in the
Yep.
flow of things. He didn't have a very high basketball IQ actually on the court.
Yep.
You know, average passer at best. So never played in the flow.